Good morning, my dear students. Today in DP, we are going to continue the same chapter, that is Outcomes of Democracy. Children, let's see till now what we have studied in this chapter. Children, we have seen democracy means rule by the people. In a democratic setup, every citizen has the right to take part in the decision making process. It is a form of government in which the supreme power is vested in the people and exercised directly by them or by their chosen or elected representative under a free electoral system. Then we have seen how democracy is better form of government when compared with dictatorship or with any other alternative governments. Children, we have studied that democracy is just a form of government. It can only create condition for achieving something. The citizen have to take advantage of those conditions and achieve those goals. Then we have studied about the economic growth and development, and in that we have studied in matters of economic development all the democracies did not get developed because of various factors. Uh, for example, population, lack of basic infrastructure, etc. Then we have seen dictatorship have slightly higher rate of economic growth. The inability of democracy to achieve higher economic development is not a sole reason to reject democracy. The difference in the rate of economic development between less developed countries with the dictatorship and democracies is negligible. Overall, democracy is not a guarantee of economic development. And now, today we will start with reduction of inequality and poverty. Children, perhaps more than development, it is reasonable to expect democracies to reduce economic disparities. Even when a country achieves economic growth, will wealth be distributed in such a way that all citizens of the country will have share and lead a better life? Is economic growth in the democracies accompanied by increased inequality among the people, or do democracies lead to a just distribution of goods and opportunity? Children, democracies are based on political equality. That means all individuals have equal weight in electing representative. Parallel to the process of bringing individuals into the political arena on an equal footing, we find growing economic inequalities. A small number of ultra rich enjoy a a disproportionate share of wealth and income. Not only that, their share in the total income of the country has been increasing. Those at the bottom of the society have very little to depend upon. Their incomes have been declining. Sometimes they find it difficult to meet their basic needs of life, such as food, clothing, house, education, and health. Children, in actual life, democracies do not appear to be very successful in reducing economic inequalities. Children, the poor constitute a large portion of our voters, and no party will like to lose their votes. But democratically elected government do not appear to be as keen to address the question of poverty. The situation is much worse in some other countries. For example, in Bangladesh, more than half of its population lives in poverty. People in several poor countries are now dependent on the rich country even for food supplies. Now, accommodation of social diversities. Children, do democracies lead to peaceful and harmonious life among the citizens? It will be fair expectations that the democracy should produce a harmonious social life. We have seen that how democracies accommodate various social divisions. We saw in the first chapter how Belgium was successfully negotiated differences among the ethnic populations. Democracies usually develop a procedure to conduct their competition. This reduces the possibility of the tensions becoming explosive or violent. Children, no society can fully and permanently resolve conflicts among the different groups. But we can certainly learn to respect these differences, and we can also evolve mechanism to negotiate the differences. Democracy is the best suited to produce this outcome. Not democratic regime, sorry, Non-democratic regime often turn a blind eye to or suppress internal social differences. Ability to handle social differences, divisions, and the conflicts is thus a definite plus point of a democratic regimes. But the example of Sri Lanka reminds us that a democracy must fulfill two conditions in order to achieve this outcome. The first one is it is necessary to understand that democracy is not simply rule by majority opinion. The majority always need to work with the minority so that the governments function to represent the general view. Majority and the minority opinion are not permanent. It is also necessary that rule by majority does not become rule by majority community in terms of religion or race or linguistic groups, etc. Rule by majority means that in case of every decision or in case of every election, different persons and group may and can form a majority. Democracy remains democracy only as long as every citizen has a chance of being in majority at some point of time. If someone is barred from being in majority on the basis of birth, then the democratic rule ceases to be accommodative for that person or group. Now, children, dignity and freedom of the citizens. Democracy stands much superior to any other form of government in promoting dignity and freedom of the individuals. Every individual wants to receive respect from the fellow beings. Often conflicts arise among the individual because some feel that they are not treated with the due respect. The passion for a respect and freedom are the basis of democracy. Democracies throughout the world have recognized this, at least in the principle. This has been achieved in various degrees in various democracies. For societies which have been built for a long on the basis of subordination and domination, it is not a simple matter to recognize that all individuals are equal. Take the case of dignity of women. Most societies across the world were historically male dominated societies. Long struggle by the women have created some sensitivity today that respect to and equal treatment of women are necessary ingredient of a democratic society. That doesn't mean that women are actually always treated with respect. But once the principle is recognized, it becomes easier for the woman to wage a struggle against what is not unacceptable legally and morally. In a non-democratic setup, this unacceptability would not have legal basis because the principle of individual freedom and dignity would have would not have the legal and moral force there. The same is true to the caste inequalities. Democracy in India has strengthened the claims of the disadvantaged and discriminated caste for equal status and equal opportunities. There are instances still of the caste based inequalities and atrocities, but these lack the moral and the legal foundations. Perhaps it is the recognition that makes ordinary citizens value their democratic rights. Children, expectations from democracy also functions as a criteria for judging any democratic country. What is the most distinctive about the democracy is that its examination never gets over. As democracy passes one test, it produces another test. As people get some benefits of democracy, they ask for more and want to make democracy even better. That is why, when we ask people about the way democracy functions, they will always come up with more expectations and many complaints. The fact that the people are complaining is itself a testimony to the success of democracy. It shows that people have developed awareness and the ability to expect and to look critically at and power holders and the high and the mighty. The public expressions of dissatisfaction with the democracy shows the success of democratic projects. It transforms people from the status of subject into that of a citizen. Most individuals today believe that their vote makes a difference to the way the government is run and to their own self interest. That's all for today, children. Thank you and have a nice day.